Hi, I'm Gia Milani, and I'm the director of the film All the Wrong Reasons.
This is your project. You wrote and directed it. So tell me where the concept came from, why it was important for you to tell this story, and how it came together.
Sure. I started to write it in 2008, and it was, I don't know, it's one of those things that kind of comes out of the ether. Like, I don't know really where it came from, except for out of necessity. I had written a comedy that I liked, and I had sent it to some funders, and they were interested in a drama. They wanted a dramatic film instead. So I went away and wrote it really quickly. And it was one of those things where you don't think very much. So it was probably a good thing. So you just write what's kind of interesting to you at the moment, which was, at the time was about body image and how we perceive ourselves and identity and things like that. It did morph later on into from body image into post-traumatic stress disorder. But I wrote it over a period of about 9 days. I just at a friend's coffee shop, just really quickly. But then, I mean, it took 4 years to develop, and you're in and out of funding bodies and stuff like that, and deadlines, and trying to navigate through the Canadian grant system, and so it took a while. But yeah, that's how it started, just my friend's coffee shop.
Wow, 9 days. That is kind of phenomenal. And is this your first theatrical feature?
It is, yeah.
You did a TV movie, is that right? And this is your first directing. Now, have you wrote any? Like, I can't believe 9 days. Like, I
Yeah,
feel a
it
little
was.
I feel lazy right now. Like, what
No,
did
it
you
was
do in the
well.
last 10 days?
It doesn't take me long to write a full thing, but the rewriting took forever. So it's not like it was good in 9 days.
Oh, phew.
It was just out, and I like writing quickly without editing, and then you read it later and go, oh God, what was that?
Did Kate come very easily to you? She seems like such a fleshed out character. So was she something you really had to ponder over, or did she just, come
She
in
was
straight away?
the easiest character to write. She
Really?
was, yeah. And I'm not sure why, because she and I aren't I don't think very close in personality. Really, I don't think. Although maybe somebody else would say that we were. I don't know. But she was quite easy to write, and the I found Nicole harder to write, and I found Simon harder to write. I found Cory's character, James, quite easy to write as well. Those two were easier. And it was hard because it's an ensemble, um, and it's got sort of four storylines running through it. Keeping the threads all together, that was hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was pretty easy. I say easy. It wasn't, none of it was easy, but easier to write.
You're making this sound like a breeze, Gia. So, and that was something that I really took away from the movie, was that it was very character driven. You do have these four characters and how they intertwine and interact, and really just a sense of their connections or lack of connection. That really seemed to become quite prevalent, and really very specifically between Kate and Simon, like literally with touching and how that conversation was happening. So was that very much something you wanted to focus on?
But the reason why I was interested, I'm interested in people, and interested in how they interact, and interested in how two people can be in the same conversation but be talking about different things. And I really tried to bring that into this, and how you can't reach a goal if I want to say if the process is wrong. That's not what I mean. Um, I guess you can't reach a goal if you don't know what it is. But they don't they like Kate really believes that if she stays in her little cocoon, she's going to get what she wants. But it's the opposite. She's not going to get what she wants unless she breaks out of it. Hope that makes more sense.
No,
More
it does.
articulate when I write.
It does. No, it does. It's a very, what you're talking about is a very human thing. James is a great example of that. How he's, very, very much aspiring to certain career points, and the wife has to toe the line, and everything has to kind of toe the line, and at the end of the day, is it really what he wants? Is it his goals? Is he getting what he wants out of life? Because he seems deeply unhappy and dissatisfied, even when he's making his career path, as it were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's a big people pleaser, and he doesn't realize that that's what his big goal is to have people say good job instead of actually wanting to be a store manager or something. He's not after that.
Yeah.
He doesn't realize it.
Yeah.
I like that about people when they don't really realize what their actual goal is.
Yeah.
Everyone else can see it, but they can't. I like that.
Now, I want to talk a little bit about the cast, and I'm sure you've had a bajillion questions about Cory. And was this his last film that he did?
It wasn't. He did another show after mine. He did two back to back. So it was his last Canadian show, but he did do another one in the States right after mine, where he played I think a criminal that was just released from jail.
The thing that struck me, and I don't know if this is where the conversation is going with the other journalists, but it just seemed like a shocking parallel. Here is a character who is very bent on fixing up his wife's life, and his was personally probably spiraling out of control in one area, at least that we know of. So I wondered if did he feel particularly close to the performance, or was it just kind of turn up on set and happy-go-lucky guy?
He knew the character very well, and he talked to me a lot about how he knew it cold. Like he said, he knows this guy. He really knew him. He understood. Reading self-help books at the beginning, he kind of references them, and he understood the corporate lifestyle inside a department store. He got that. Beyond that, and through his personal life, I don't know. He came on so late onto the production, like just within a couple of days, that I didn't get to know him personally that well, at least through the beginning. By the end of it, I did. But at the beginning, I didn't know how closely he related to James. But yeah, I think that he was able to draw on stuff from his own life for sure, because he did it really well, and he only did it in a couple of days, and so I think probably, yeah.
I think you'll be on the road up there, and I won't have a job. They're only easy on me here because of your influence.
I can do the same for you there.
But it'll be with people who don't know me. Here I can get groceries. I can pick up takeout. I have a few friends.
I want you there with me. But you gotta let this go. Okay, you just gotta confront this. Grab the bull by the horns and deal with this shit.
I'm trying.
I want to speak a little bit about Nicole and Emily Hampshire playing a bad mom.
It's so well.
I know. You're like, she's not just gonna leave the kid there, is she? Yeah. So tell me a little bit about bringing those two phenomenal actresses on board and what they brought to the roles.
Well, I loved Emily for a long time. I've known who she was forever, and she was actually on my list of people that I really, really wanted. And she was on my little board. And I thought that was, I like doing that. I think that, it helps me to have, little wish boards and stuff in front of me. So they give me little goals, and she was on there. And my story editor, Jonas Chernick, had her in a film and was talking to her about it. And so she knew about the role before I had even sent it out to her, which was really great. And she liked the role right off. So there was nobody else that really went out to or anything. So it was her right from the beginning. So that was good. So I lucked out that way.
And Karine?
And I met Karine about 6 months maybe before we shot. And I actually met her because when, you're dealing with lots of producers and distributors and things, they want you to keep looking at other casts just in case. So she, actually, I met her for the Nicole role too. And we both decided that she probably would have made a better Kate, but that role had been cast already. That was the first role that we had cast, and so it wasn't available. But I just was like, wow, like what a phenomenal person. She's lovely as just a person, like beyond being an actress. And then when the role became available, just very shortly before we shot, like less than a week before we shot, I was like, oh wow, let's see if she's available. And she only had a 4-week window in for the next year.
Wow.
And it just happened to me when we were shooting. And we had hit it off really well, so she agreed to it. So I think I cast her on Thursday, and she started on Monday, and we cast Cory on like Sunday, and he started the next day. Like it was intense and very fast.
She brings so much to the role, and something I love is that she wasn't. It didn't have anything to do with her, French Canadian side. She was just a really good actress, great for the role, and she just brought a lot to it. And quite often there's this sense of having to point out her, French Canadianness, and I'm like, can't she just be, a Canadian in a Canadian movie? Like, why do we have to point this out every time? And I love that aspect of it, that she was for the part, she played it really well,
Oh, good.
Yeah.
She did a great job. I think they all did.
Yeah, it's a tough character to play too. You know, somebody who's deeply, I mean, you feel it from her performance. You feel her angst. She could quickly become a very annoying character because she's riddled with issues, but you more get a sense of her, this kind of deep struggle that's going on within her. Did you look into a lot of people with this condition or PTSD?
I studied it a lot. I did a lot of research on trauma, and one of my best friends had come back from a tour, and he had post-traumatic stress, and so he talked to me a lot about it. He let me kind of mine what was going on in his life with his family, and then I did a lot of research on my own, and within the research found out that almost everybody has post-traumatic stress, but just in varying degrees, and so it really shaped. I thought that was really interesting. So I wanted to pursue that without having it come from a military background. So that was really interesting to me once I found out that really most everybody has it, because you can have it from being yelled at from a parent or shamed publicly somehow by a teacher or something like that. That really is trauma to somebody, and then it shapes the rest of your life. And then, of course, the worst trauma you can endure is seeing someone else die. That's the worst. And so then that's what happens to Kate. But I wanted to explore that. But yeah, I did a lot of research on it, and then was helped by friends that have lived through it and are doing great now. But yeah, I wanted to see what that was like.
It's a tough struggle, that.
It really is.
So a lot of them, I want to talk about the space of the movie. A lot of the movie shot in this huge, department store. One, who allowed you to lampoon department stores? Who gave you the okay to do that? I was like, I'm surprised they've been allowed to do this in a store. It seems to me like it's a real store anyway.
It is.
And ever since I saw The Toy, do you remember The Toy with Richard Pryor? I've always wanted to hang out in a department store and just, nobody in it. It's just the world seems at your feet in an empty department store. So tell me about that space and how it was as much a character.
It was a lot of fun to work in because it felt like you weren't supposed to be there, because we shot overnight and there was nobody there but us. It was a real store. It was a Zellers. And because Target was taking over Zellers, they were all closing. This store was closed 4 months after we were there, so we kind of had free reign. The manager was like, sure, go ahead. It was great. So there weren't a lot of logos to change. We had the same color Zellers that we were in, so we just used reds. We were able to blend in really quickly. And my art department was great about, figuring out logos and things, because when you're in a space like that, that's a huge consideration, where we're doing a lot of walking around, making sure that we're not infringing on people's branding and stuff like that. But it was a lot of fun to shoot in. Overnights and the lights off and stuff like that, and running around, just seeing people lying in the hammocks or whatever during their break or whatever. It was just fun. It was a fun thing. But it was different because I didn't realize, I used to work at Consumers Distributing. I don't know if you remember that, but it was a long time ago. And that's the only kind of department store, and that's not really a department store, that I'd ever worked in. But being in a small town, it's like we have a Walmart here, and that's kind of the hub. Everybody goes to the Walmart because we live in a small place. There's not the variety and stuff that you have in like a Toronto or something. So everyone goes to the Walmart, and I call it the Walmart. Yeah, it's an East Coast thing. But it was more controlled than I thought it would be. Like, we had to ask corporate in Ontario about lights. So if we needed the lights off for a night scene, we had to ask 24 hours in advance. And I didn't realize it was that controlling. I didn't realize the managers on the ground didn't have that control. I thought that was really interesting. And that, like, all their power is taken away. All of the front end cash registers were handled by Toronto. So
Wow.
we had this lady in one night, and we had a lot of extras in doing like the company cheer.
Yeah,
So there were a lot of extras around, milling around and stuff. And about an hour and a half after we were shooting, we started shooting at 9 p.m. That's when the store shut. It's about 10:30, and there was a woman shopping still. I didn't realize it was closed because, of course, we have tons of extras around, and it looked like the store was still open. And we couldn't put through her purchases or anything because it was controlled by Ontario. And anyway, it was interesting.
Aw, bless her. She just wanted to pick up a few things.
Yeah, did a couple things. Her cart was full, actually.
Nobody noticed. That's not one of the extras.
No, somebody said, I think one of your extras is down here. And I was like, oh no, it wasn't. Anyway. So she had to be escorted out. Awful. I felt so bad.
Are your characters underdogs?
Yeah, I think so.
Hmm?
I think so. I don't know. I like them all. I empathize with all of them. I understand all of them and where they're all coming from. So yeah, I think they are. I root for all of them, even the ones that are really awful. I still get it. Like, I understand. You know, like with Nicole's character, you know, she's somebody to me that didn't get a youth. Like, she's messed up her youth and is really trying to get back there all the time, and really feels but she has a sense of entitlement. Like, she's entitled to this youth and to stay in that spot and want these things for herself. And it's the sense of entitlement, I think, that gets her in the end. But I understand why she wants it. I get it.
Mm.
So, but yeah, I think they're all. Oh, I hope they come across like that.
Well, I found the Kevin Zegers character. Is it Zegers or Zegers? Zegers?
Zegers. Yeah.
Zegers. Okay, good. Simon. Yeah.
Oh.
First of all, how did you do the CG? Like, was there CGI? Like,
Yeah.
that was unbelievable. Like, and his physicality as well was like, you know, for the audience, he plays kind of essentially a one-armed character, and his whole physicality seemed to also, you know, be that way, as well as, you know, whatever movie magic you were making. So
We had a prosthetic arm built for him specifically. So he had, I think, a couple of days to learn how to work the arm properly. He actually does work the arm. It's a body powered arm. It's actually powered by his opposite shoulder, and that's how they're powered. So if he needs to open or close it, it's operated by, I think it's right arm, whatever. It's operated by the other arm.
Mm.
And so he had somebody teach him how to use it. He picked it up quite quickly, and apparently arm amputees, it is quite, I'm going to say, easy. I've never done it, but what I'm told, it's easy to pick up. It's not a hard thing to do. And he picked it up quite quickly. And then we did have some CG with him in it. There's actually about 57 CG shots in the film, because all of the monitors and things that Kate is looking at, those were put in after. So that was a big process. It was about 3 months to do all the CG. And I had a high school friend, Glenn, who did a lot of his arm shots. So that worked out really well. Glenn's worked on like The Hobbit and a whole bunch of things for Tim Burton. So I knew I was good hands with him doing that. But yeah, Kevin's a fantastic actor. When he gets into something, he really, you know, gets into the role, and he picked it up. I didn't have to, it's not somebody you had to, you know, micromanage and say, okay, you need to do it more like this. Like, he understood. He must have done his homework before he got to set, because he knew what he was doing.
Can I say something without you getting upset? I think you need to leave your husband. And you need to start your own. Right. My test is at 1:30 at the South Hall if you want to get your ass out of bed.
Your film, All the Wrong Reasons, coming out November 1st.
November 1st.
And tell me, how can audiences connect with it?
They can see it starting on the 1st in, I believe, Victoria, Vancouver, Montreal, Toronto, and Halifax.
Wonderful.
And London, Ontario. Forgot about London. And then hopefully it will go a little bit wider after that, and we're hoping that it will do that. And the fabulous Cineplex Odeon who are supporting the film. I'm
Good.
happy with them. So they're the ones that are putting it out, and they're supporting Canadian film by putting it out right now, which I'm thrilled about. So yeah, so it'd be on Cineplex Odeon site.
Thank you so much for taking the time out today.
It's
been delightful.
Oh, thank you for doing this. This is great.
I know.
I love Skype.
Absolutely love it. I'm ardent about, I mean, I can connect with anybody anywhere this way, right? It's a wonderful way to do an interview. And then what's nice is that we're on both sides of the screen. So the audience is like, you're talking to the audience at the end of the day. Yeah, which is kind of great. So
I did all my auditions like this.
Yeah, do you?
All of them on Skype. I didn't meet anybody in person except for Karine. Everybody else was on Skype.
See, and that makes sense. Gee, technology's fantastic, isn't it?
Then you don't have to pay for flights to Los Angeles.
Those are costly.